The night sky over Washington, D.C. was ripped apart on January 29, 2025. Just before 9 p.m., a horrifying collision unfolded above the Potomac River, claiming the lives of all 67 souls aboard American Eagle Flight 5342 and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. The Bombardier CRJ-700, en route from Wichita, Kansas, was on its final approach to Reagan National Airport when disaster struck. In a terrifying instant, it collided with the helicopter, sending both aircraft plummeting into the icy waters below. The nation watched in horror as news of the crash spread. The initial shock quickly gave way to a profound sense of grief as the scale of the tragedy became clear. There were no survivors. Among the passengers on Flight 5342 were members of the U.S. figure skating community returning from the national championships, their dreams and aspirations cut short. The presence of renowned Russian figure skaters Yevgenia Shishkova and Vadim Naumov among the victims added another layer of international sorrow to the already heart-wrenching event. The crash sent shockwaves through the figure skating world and beyond. Tributes poured in for the athletes, coaches, and officials who were lost, their absence leaving a void in the sport they loved. The Kremlin confirmed the presence of Shishkova and Naumov on the flight, expressing condolences and offering support to their families. The tragedy transcended borders, uniting people in their grief and shared humanity. The immediate aftermath of the crash was a scene of chaos and despair. First responders raced against time and the elements, battling near-freezing temperatures, low visibility, and the unforgiving currents of the Potomac. Divers plunged into the icy depths, desperately searching for any sign of life. Boats crisscrossed the river, their spotlights cutting through the darkness as they scanned for wreckage. Helicopters hovered overhead, providing a grim aerial view of the disaster zone. As the hours ticked by, hope dwindled. The grim reality of the situation settled in. The recovery effort shifted from a rescue mission to the heartbreaking task of recovering the bodies of those lost. Families of the victims gathered at the airport, clinging to each other for support as they anxiously awaited news. Their agonizing wait was punctuated by moments of unbearable silence and the hushed whispers of grief counselors. The airport itself became a microcosm of the nation's collective grief. The bustling terminal, usually a hub of activity and anticipation, fell silent. Flights were grounded, and the usual airport announcements were replaced with somber updates about the crash. Travelers, stranded and shaken, watched the news unfold on television screens, their own travel plans fading into insignificance in the face of such immense loss. In the wake of the tragedy, the nation demanded answers. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, along with the U.S. Army and the Department of Defense, launched a full-scale investigation into the cause of the crash. Experts pored over radar data, air traffic control recordings, and wreckage recovered from the riverbed, determined to piece together the final moments of Flight 5342 and the Black Hawk helicopter. Initial reports suggested that the plane was just a few hundred feet off the ground, on its final approach to runway 33, when the collision occurred. The Black Hawk, on a training exercise, was also operating in the vicinity of the airport. Investigators are examining whether pilot error, mechanical failure, or a tragic miscommunication between the aircraft and air traffic control could have contributed to the disaster. The investigation is expected to be lengthy and complex, involving the analysis of flight data recorders, interviews with air traffic controllers, and a thorough examination of maintenance records for both aircraft. The NTSB will also investigate weather conditions at the time of the crash, as well as any potential security breaches or external factors that may have played a role. The tragic collision over the Potomac serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the inherent risks associated with air travel. It is a tragedy that has left an indelible mark on the nation's psyche, prompting reflections on air safety protocols, the human cost of accidents, and the importance of honoring the memories of those lost. The crash has also reignited discussions about the challenges of managing airspace in congested areas, particularly around major airports. The proximity of Reagan National Airport to the nation's capital and its location along the Potomac River present unique logistical and security concerns. In the wake of the tragedy, lawmakers and aviation experts are calling for a comprehensive review of air traffic control procedures and potential safety enhancements to prevent similar incidents from occurring in the future. As the investigation continues, the nation mourns the loss of 67 lives cut tragically short. We remember the athletes who inspired us, the service members who dedicated their lives to protecting our country, and all those who boarded those flights with hopes and dreams for the future. Their absence leaves a void that will never be filled, but their memories will continue to inspire acts of kindness, compassion, and a renewed commitment to safety and understanding.